Hey, thanks for tuning in to Horror Fix at horror-fix.com. This is Ash Hamilton. I am joined by Sam and Devin tonight, and I'm going to let them sort of introduce themselves, but they've been working on a film called Holler, which is right now on Kickstarter. It's gaining some steam. It's got some mutual friends of ours in it, so I'm really excited for this and happy to be helping them maybe get some eyes on it. So how are you guys doing tonight?
Good, just busy trying to promote and spread the word. Get eyes on the trailer. Yeah, and everything that involves that.
Yeah, navigating through pre-production and everything else, and
Yeah. So
It's a full-time job, man. It's a lot of work.
yes, a lot.
right, it definitely is.
So, my hat's off to anybody who decides that they're going to up in their life like that. Because
Right,
I've done
right.
it and, sort of get into the thick of it. So, we're pretty close to each other regionally. I'm actually not too far outside of Jacksonville. Now, are you both in Jacksonville? Are you both Jacksonville, Illinois residents?
Yeah, I live in South Jacksonville, but same thing. But yeah.
So, what I'd like to do is I'd like to just take a moment and sort of introduce yourself. Tell us exactly what got you interested in the idea of doing film, and in particular, this film, Holler.
Okay. I guess I'll start. So I'm Devin Smock. Um, a little bit about me. I have a wife, two kids, well, two stepkids and two kids, so four total. Two girls, two boys. I co-own Pizza Records in Jacksonville with my wife Heather. We do live concerts in a record store, traditional record store stuff. Um, and then, as far as the film goes, when we were kids, we were in high school. We were friends, and we just hung out and watched horror movies. That's basically was our social life for the most
Mhm.
part. And we always had dreams of making them. And then we would, start scripts or projects and things, um, not knowing the maturity level, responsibility, and the things that come with filmmaking. Then naive, like kids are sometimes. And and then I went to school for about a year up north to kind of do a digital video version. This is 2004, so it was kind of like starting in the real push for video. At the Art Institute, I spent a year there just kind of learning videography using the video format. And then I came back home and kind of just started doing the adult thing. Met my wife, had kids, things like that, and kind of just, other than some writing here and there, kind of just put this on the back burner. And then through a mutual friend of ours, Brooke Krauscher, and some other people that you mentioned earlier that helped us with the TV show, we kind of just through that got reignited into the love of creating stuff. And then one night we just hanging out as it came up with Holler, and now we're here. So uh, yeah,
Yeah,
that sums up my side of it. But
yeah,
So, what is maybe you could give us a brief synopsis of what Holler is?
you want to do that?
well, I think Holler, like, what's really important with Holler is not just what it is, but all the things that it isn't. Like, when we originally had the idea of the movie, we were really interested in hitting, like, I love zombie movies, which Holler definitely is one. But I feel like a lot of the genre of horror zombie films has kind of devolved into like action films, which is great, and I can definitely watch movies like that and enjoy them. But we were like interested in getting into the minutia, everything like the boredom, the discomfort, all those things that would come with living in the post-apocalypse. And we were also too interested in seeing like a certain section of chronology in the post-apocalypse where it wasn't. right where the outbreak of zombies or whatever happened. It was more like a couple years in where the world was kind of close to turning over into like a sense of normality, and we kind of wanted to come up with something that existed in that time frame, but we were really interested in kind of taking the genre and doing a take on it, and that was always a big thing from the beginning. And even focusing in on Ray, our lead character, who's is Rick Jensen, focusing on a character that you don't necessarily see in those kind of genre films so much. And we were lucky too, like going back to how we met and everything. We kind of came up in that golden age of like early 2000s DVDs, like collecting DVDs, physical media, and even VHS, where you could go to Best Buy and find like trauma films and find weird, like underground stuff. And that was a big influence on us. And it was kind of like, even like a lot of the horror stuff that IFC was putting out at the time was a big influence on what we're doing now. But I would say Holler is a post-apocalyptic Western horror film, and it's about kind of a morally bankrupt character, Ray, who comes across a situation where he has a chance to help somebody. He does it, and then he kind of faces a lot of moral dilemmas, and she does as well on the path to facilitating that mission. So zombies are important, but zombies in a lot of ways are kind of a backdrop to everything else going on.
So we know that you've got essentially your lead cast.
Yeah.
Is this something where we're going to see a lot of characters? Is it a very intimate film with a small number of characters? What exactly is the direction there?
There's, I'd say like a medium, I guess, and whatever kind of that means. But there's definitely, just off the top of my head, there's probably 8 to 10 speaking roles type, and then a couple, um, maybe half a dozen or a dozen more kind of just characters in and out. Um, so it's definitely not. It's intimate, but not in the sense that there's not other characters in there that
Yeah.
they meet along the way in their journey uh, that kind of change the course of the journey and things like that.
So as far as the cast right now, is there still opportunity for people to be cast in the film?
Yes.
Most definitely, yeah. Um, Really, for like we've seen some video auditions for some of the supporting. Um, our our lead female is cast, but we have supporting roles. I would say in just about any demographic because they kind of vary.
Hmm.
And so female, male, age groups spread across. So um, officially, we only have our two leads cast, and then we have some people that we're looking into for like kind of the bigger supporting roles, and but it's most definitely still an open cast that we're going to pursue here in the near future.
Yeah, definitely.
And as far as your shooting locations, are you doing that all in the Midwest, specifically Illinois?
Yeah,
Yes.
specifically Central Illinois. And we've been investing a lot of time and effort into finding locations just because, obviously we want them to be memorable. But one thing that since the inception of all this that we kind of found out was we live in an area covered with crops. And in the post apocalyptic world, none of that makes sense. We can't have that. So we've been definitely staying away from that. We've been kind of like focusing in on visually like westerns, the similarities that they have with Illinois, especially Central Illinois. We're looking into like wide open space, prairie, rolling hills, stuff like that.
So we're talking about the visual look and the tone of the film.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your inspirations? I mean, being a fellow horror fan myself,
Right.
What are some of the films that you've looked towards to say, well, tonally they got this right, or from an atmospheric point of view, this is really what we're aiming at? Like, what would you say has inspired you as far as the story goes?
So it's kind of I think that's where our Holler's a little different is because obviously we're horror geeks and nerds, like we love horror, but a lot of we're also big fans of Sergio Leone, and the cinematography of like Roger Deakins with the Coen brothers and things like that with use of natural light and Days of Heaven, and like Terrence Malick stuff. So I think you would agree. Like a lot of the cinematography goes along those lines, trying to use
Yeah.
natural light, really using the Midwest as a character, kind of like the Coens do, especially in like No Country for Old Men and things like that,
Hmm.
where the atmosphere and um, the Midwest, the place they're at, is almost a character in itself, a visual character.
Hmm. And that was a big thing for us too. Was like there are definitely horror influences, but when you're really like talking specifically visually, we really tried to stay away from a lot of those kind of tropes. Now, all that being said, the Romero thing
Yeah.
is very big to us, especially like original Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead trilogy. Like not just purely in terms of the visual, but like zombie behavior. I think like I love movies like 28 Days Later. We both do, but I think we kind of hit a chapter in like filmmaking post that movie with like the super aggro, very like conscious zombie, and we were kind of trying to go with Holler for something very different, kind of the more like lethargic. You know, they're not such a threat on their own, but slowly they kind of pile up on you and they become something more intimidating. But I can't state enough the
There
influence of
are
like George Romero.
Yeah.
there are pains involving filmmaking. I mean, and sometimes until you get that reward, it seems like it's just pain after pain after pain.
It is.
So, what are some of the advantages, for example, shooting somewhat rurally, and then what again are probably some of the disadvantages in
I, th-
shooting where we live?
I think you could answer that question with the same answer because it's so because of the ruralness, some people are more open and want to be a part of filmmaking because it's a new concept to them around here. And that same reason is why it's also possibly negative because some people don't understand it.
They have no touch
And
points.
there might be a negative connotation with it. I'm not sure, but uh, so we've kind of run into both already,
Hmm.
where people were just beyond excited to be a part of a movie, uh, and then some people are very leery of the crew and cast and what kind of people they are and like how they will respect their land and house and it's understandable. But I think that question it's the same answer for both, but for different reasons. I mean, it's
Yeah, and that's another thing too in terms of like finding cast and crew. It's not Hollywood. Obviously, there's only so many people who do that sort of thing around here. But I mean, at the same time, the really good people are looking for opportunity, and when you present it to them, you know, they're pretty adamant about wanting to be on board. So that's been like it's a blessing and a curse at the same time.
mm-hmm.
So the project is currently on Kickstarter.
Hmm.
So give us a little information about what you're trying to fund, what you're looking to use those funds for, what people can expect from perks. Walk us through sort of the Kickstarter arena for this film.
So it's kind of a traditional, and I'll be honest, we were kind of new to like I'm familiar with it. I've contributed to Indiegogos and Kickstarters for various films. It's something I like to do, but we very much were new to creating Kickstarter. So we did a lot of research on what the current ones were doing. So like it's just like a lot of those perks are set up. We have start out with like a lower like shout out and a digital copy of the poster, but there's tiers and it slowly goes up. But we're gonna do my connections in the record store. I have somebody that can make like limited edition cassettes. So we're gonna do like a soundtrack cassette, special limited cassette. We'll have physical copies of the poster,
Stickers, pins,
stickers,
t-shirt.
pins, T-shirts, um, various, just kind of and then the credit thing that we definitely if someone is to a higher level and they shows they really want to be a part of this film. We want to you know, provide them a credit for it. And trying to think of some other things.
Well, we have the benefit too is we have Spencer, our art guy, graphic designer guy, and he makes some really, really good stuff. So, I mean, we've had a big push to keep all the graphics and all the artwork associated with the movie being to be really memorable, and I think he facilitates that really well. In terms of what really money is going to, we're kind of in a fortunate position where like our cinematographer has an extremely nice camera and lens and light setup. We own some equipment ourselves. Our sound guy owns his own stuff. What we really are looking for money for is the money to pay for food, pay for gas, pay for lodging. Um, Keeping our crew people from having to reach into their own pockets to pay for everything, which we've been really lucky. Those people are all willing to do that, but we're trying to negate that as much as possible. And then I'd say I wouldn't say necessarily a secondary effect of the money, but another important one is makeup effects because we're really pushing to go all practical and memorable when it
Yeah.
comes to the makeup effects.
Yeah, I'd say like the basic amenities is what we're like.
Yeah.
We want to, our biggest thing is to provide the amenities to the cast and crew. And because, again, we're fortunate that most of the equipment we already have between us and here or with the crew we already have. So
Right.
we're fortunate, whereas some productions aren't able to do that. They have to rent and things like that. So we're pretty lucky in that respect. So a lot of the money is just it's going straight to our cast and crew, whether it be for food, hotel, transportation, things like that. Just trying to.
Even locations too. I mean, there's just certain locations we know we're going to have to throw money at to get most likely, and that's another big thing for us too.
Yeah.
And it's just really practical stuff to try to make the movie work. And those are just the things outside of our wheelhouse right now: gas, lodging, locations, and makeup effects that we can't completely handle ourselves. So that's all we're really looking for with the actual funding.
Well, keeping the cast and crew happy and fed is an essential part of that battle.
Yeah.
You know, making
Absolutely.
sure that there are full bellies and, at least sometimes smiles on people's faces while they're doing it. So, what kind of shooting schedule are you looking at? So, obviously, you're doing the crowdfunding now. When were you looking to shoot the actual film itself into principle?
So principal and the first. So we're gonna do a 9-day block at the very beginning of August, from I believe August 2nd to the 11th, um, maybe the 12th. It's a 9-day block there, and basically our concern there is what we're doing now is breaking down the script, getting a lot of the outside stuff, the exterior, because we want that sun natural light look, like I spoke before, and then depending on how much we're able to get done in those 9 days, then we're going to attack another 9 days in October and hopefully complete then the interiors stuff with the houses that
Yeah.
we have, the locations and stuff. And then also if we've got to do a finishing crowdfunding campaign, we will at that point. It's depends on how it goes, and you know how that is. But that getting the initial 9 days shot, seeing what we can get done,
Yeah.
and then also just having more to show people so we can get the finishing funds too. Just this is what we're working on,
And we keep going back to like the original like Texas Chainsaw Massacre of wanting to have that feel of like hot, humid, sweaty. We really want that, which is why we want to knock out the exterior stuff first.
Yeah.
And then come back to interior later if we have to.
Yeah.
But that's our main concern at the beginning of production.
Yeah.
So, people who are going to, for example, take a look at this interview, take a look at the crowdfunding campaign, people who are going to go to Kickstarter, what can you tell them about what they can expect to see from the final product?
I think you're gonna see something that looks beautiful, but is brutal
Yeah.
at the same time. There's definitely some visceral moments in this movie that every horror fan will love, I hope, and brutal.
Mm-hmm.
But also, in like I spoke earlier, just in a visual atmospheric landscape that's also at times beautiful, but realistic too. you know.
And then we have to keep going back to Cal, our cinematographer. Like his images are fantastic. Like his understanding of composition, natural light, all those things is just. I mean, it's some of the best work I've ever seen from somebody around here. And we've worked with a lot of people in like the last year working on the show and everything. And it's just. I think it's like a devotion to the photography and to overall aesthetic, and I think we really take people on a journey in this movie. I mean, beyond the visual, we very much wrote it with the frame of mind of the classic like 3 act structure of a hero quest, and I think that's
Mm.
there's trying to reinvent the wheel in terms of like storytelling, but there's also that classic thing that I think appeals to a lot of people, and it even goes back to like mythology and everything. And I think we really like satisfy that for an audience in the story.
Now, for people who maybe aren't ready to try to audition for a lead role or even a speaking role, people who are very familiar with the zombie genre and perhaps want to be an extra, is there going to be an opportunity for that? Are we going to be
Yes.
able to
Oh yeah.
see, throngs of zombies?
Yeah, so there will be sparse zombies, but there will be um, a few opportunities in the movie to have a larger quantity of zombies. Let's just say that.
Hmm.
Um, so we will definitely be looking for people to be extras. We've of course had a lot of people reach out already, and we have them uh, ready to go too. But and then we're going to be doing casting calls in the very near future for some of the like supporting things that you were discussing too. So definitely going to be opportunities to be involved, uh, whether it's playing a zombie, helping put on zombie makeup, just all hands on deck opportunities to be involved and have fun making a zombie movie.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
And people who are interested, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you, follow the progress? Like, how will people know where to go, when to go, who to contact?
Subterranean Sound and Vision on Facebook is kind of the hub. We're on. We have pretty good response on TikTok and um, let's see, Instagram,
YouTube.
YouTube, various things. But I would say the best, latest information is on Facebook. That's where we post all the news with it. If we've got a casting call, things like that, um, behind the scenes footage, all the things to be involved in Holler are on the Subterranean Sound and Vision Facebook.
And honestly, regardless if we posted anything or not, we're always interested in talking to people,
Yeah,
especially if they think they have something to offer towards the movie. I mean, we've met some really good people that way. So
yeah,
yeah, we're just constantly in a state of wanting to meet people for the movie right
yeah.
now.
Yeah, send us a messenger message on that Facebook, or we also have an email set up. It's subterranean sound and vision at yahoo.com. So either email or send us a message on the Facebook and we'll get in contact with you.
And people can get a taste of what you're wanting to do because the trailer is currently out. People are able to view it. Um, and again, that's a great incentive for them to contribute is to be able to show that proof of concept. So
Hmm.
they can go find that trailer as well right now, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have it everywhere. we, uh, we've I don't know. We're almost 40, so I don't know what this means. But we've got like 25,000 views on TikTok. I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's where we posted that. We've got it on all the things I mentioned before, Facebook, my personal Facebook,
Hmm.
Pizza Records. We're kind of doing the just all hands on deck sharing of it. But YouTube has got a great. We've got two versions. We've got the anamorphic. Uh, Properly de-squeezed version, and then the
Not
regular
these.
version, and then some behind the scenes stuff of me and Sam trying to do a thank you video and not doing so well at it. About 24 takes. About hired some actors for it, but and then some other behind the scenes stuff that we've been putting on there. So
I think the trailer too is a good stepping stone for people to like get a concept of the visual tone and everything else. I mean, as much as we could possibly do in 2.5 minutes, I think it hits it like hits that point pretty well.
Yeah.
So what are your expectations as far as a timeline where people might actually see the film in its completed form?
So what I was asked the same question earlier. Best case scenario, I would love to see this time next year. But obviously, a premiere locally,
That's the main goal.
before that,
Mhm.
probably, let's say 10, 11 months from now, a couple months, like March 26th, depending on how things go, how that is. But we're also going to we don't, other than maybe a local premiere, we're going to hit the festival market and just attack that and see what comes up with that, and distribution and things like that. Give that all a go, and before we just release it to uh, everything. But yeah, I'm hopeful that it's this time next year we're sitting around and able to watch it somewhere.
Yeah. And we have the benefit too, we do together all of our own editing and grading and everything, and our turnaround time for that is pretty quick. So, I mean, we're going to hit post and, trying to get it distributed afterward with just as much enthusiasm as we've hit pre-production. So, we're in it for the long haul.
Well, we'll definitely be following the progress. We'll put links below the article when it gets published so that people can hit the Kickstarter, learn more about you guys, find places where they can learn more about the production, and follow the timeline along with the rest of the audience. So
Awesome.
if you have any more shout outs, I would love to hear it. Anything else you guys are looking to help promote, by all means, we're here for it. But other than that, I want to thank you guys for your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, that was going to be my first shout out. We just appreciate your time and
Yeah, absolutely.
allowing us to do this and to promote, our dream essentially to do this, our first feature film. So, yeah, I want to thank the entire crew of our TV show. They're great people. A lot of them will be involved in this, Brooke and things like that. Too many to mention, but I just want them to know again that they're all great people and they're wonderful to work with, and I'm happy to see what happens with their careers, um, and then just my wife and kids for tolerating my work schedule.
That's a big one. Yeah,
That,
It's a big one.
that's probably the biggest one. My family too. Yeah. So my wife and kids and my other family and friends for tolerating my super crazy busy schedule. So
We also too I mean, we can't show enough gratitude to Rick Jensen, Mia Katz, Cal Casas, Lee Hurd, our sound guy. I mean, those are the people who have really made everything work, and
yeah,
they've made that script come alive so much so far, and just could not be doing it without those people.
they're
So
outstanding.
very, very fortunate to be
Very
working with those
fortunate and
people.
thankful.
Couldn't see doing it with anyone else.
Yeah.
well, you've got some great people behind it. Obviously, there's a lot of enthusiasm for it. And, as you progress in this journey, we'll talk again, and I'll be more than happy to show our audience, what you've got cooking in the weeks and months ahead.
Yeah, anytime, man. Absolutely.
It's great.
Well, again, thanks so much. And again, anybody who's watching, make sure to click on the links, go to the Kickstarter. Let's make this happen. We can't get enough of more thoughtful horror, especially zombie films, especially from people who want to do something that's handling the subject matter with care and attention. So thanks, guys. And, can't wait to see the final product.
Thank you so much,
Thanks so
man.
much,
Good
man.
talking to you.
Yeah.